Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and I just got done reading an article from GeekTyrant.com talking about how Disney wants to potentially reboot the Rocketeer franchise. Now, I've seen this posted elsewhere abroad the internet, and I don't want to say it's quite out of the rumorville yet, but it sounds like they may soon be shopping around for writers and that kind of thing. And I'm definitely somebody who loves the 1991 Joe Johnston-directed Rocketeer film. This came out at the right time in my life where, in a small stretch of years, things like Dick Tracy and Who Framed Roger Rabbit, the '89 Batman film, and of course The Rocketeer, they all hit me in my geek nerve at the best time in my life to just inspire me and be very memorable for me nostalgically. And I even remember with The Rocketeer, as my grandmother put it, wasting 20 of my hard-earned dollars on a foot-tall plastic Rocketeer statuette that I wish I still had to this day, especially after the ass chewing I got for wasting that money on it. But I ended up getting rid of it years ago. But that's how much of an impact the Rocketeer film made on me. Now, I've never been really that familiar with the comics, never got my hands on the original 80s ones, and I know it's making a big comeback in popularity through, I think it's IDW that's publishing them nowadays. I can't get my hands on those either, so I'm not sure. But, I think the biggest thing when I hear this news, there's a little edge of excitement, but there's also a great, tremendous pause that this gives me, and it's all down to that word, reboot. I think my biggest problem here is I don't want to see a rehashing of the Rocketeer origin. We already have a solid one in movie form. Even if you don't want to directly link to that, I think this is the perfect opportunity to use Superman Returns and what the essence behind that movie was for a Rocketeer potential movie. That is to say, I don't think we need to retell the whole origin of the character, finding the rocket pack and, figuring out who it belongs to and fighting Nazis and whatever the story might be. I think this is the perfect case where a Superman Returns-esque storyline where it's kind of a vague history. The characters are known to each other. They're not all just meeting for the first time. And, Cliff basically, he's already been the Rocketeer and he goes on some grand adventure, action-adventure story would be the perfect way to do the film. You could open the movie with a sort of textual history or perhaps imagery in the opening credits to give you the basis for those of the masses who aren't familiar with the character, what it's all about, and just tell a fantastic action-adventure story. I think that's the way to go with this kind of thing. Again, it's the biggest thing is that word reboot, talking about in the aspect of just retelling the whole story from scratch. Even if it's different, it's still going to be vaguely similar, and why bother? We don't really need that. I think there are too many superhero films out there, and I think, the Rocketeer is arguably a superhero in the vein of Batman. I don't think we need to have to see what made him become who he is. Hey, the guy found a rocket pack and now he's flying around kicking ass. That's all we need to know. And that's without even getting into the whole casting thing. I mean, I'm not somebody who really loses sleep over who's going to be cast in a film or not. I usually give people the benefit of the doubt. Of course, I have actors and actresses that I prefer or would, probably could come up with and think, they would be great in that kind of role for whatever property. But, I mean, you're really going to be cutting close to the cord if you can actually get names and faces that were as memorable as the 1991 Rocketeer film. I mean, Alan Arkin, the classic comic actor, and Timothy Dalton, James Bond himself, playing a villain of all things. Paul Sorvino, the guy from Goodfellas. I mean, and Billy Campbell, who played Cliff Secord in that film, just really did a swank job, as far as I was concerned. Jennifer Connelly was just getting started, just becoming known, and we've seen what kind of a great actress she's become since then. So, I mean, seeing names and faces, this day and age, it's not impossible that you could really cast this well, but frankly, I don't want Twilight actors in this movie, that kind of thing. And so I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below or as a video response what you think of this, if you'd be looking forward to a Rocketeer rebooted film or film franchise even, or do you think it should be more something along the lines of what I'm saying here, just tell a new story in an already established world. Give us a little reminder at the beginning what it's all about and just tell us a rockin' story, no pun intended. And yeah, so that's pretty much my thoughts on this. I'd love to hear from you, and otherwise that's going to be it from me, so I'll catch you later. Peace.